breath catches as I race through the winding paths of the enormous evergreen hotel garden. The child I'm supposed to babysit is nowhere in sight. Lily's disappearance fills me with panic, making my heart pound. Once a place of beauty and tranquility, the garden now feels sinister and alive. I push through overgrown hedges, thorns snagging at my clothes. "Lily!" I call out, my voice trembling. "Lily, where are you?" Only the rustle of leaves answers me, mocking the child's laughter I long to hear. My mind races, replaying the events that led to this moment. Just hours ago, Lily was fascinated by strange symbols etched into the garden's stones. I should have paid more attention and recognized the danger. I can't shake the feeling that those symbols are more than mere scratches. I force myself to focus and to think like the child psychologist I'm training to be. Where would a curious child go? What would draw her deeper into this maze? I retrace our steps, searching for any sign of Lily's passage. The path beneath my feet shifts, and I stumble, catching myself against a gnarled tree trunk. I blink, disoriented. This garden section is unfamiliar, the hedges wild and unruly. Nothing like the well-manicured grounds I've known over months of working here. "This isn't right," I mutter, pushing my dark hair out of my eyes. The paths seem to move independently, creating a labyrinth that defies logic. My analytical mind struggles to make sense of it. But there's no denying the impossible. The garden is changing, actively working against me. A chill runs down my spine as I realize the true nature of my predicament. This is no ordinary disappearance, no simple case of a child wandering off. Something evil is at work here, something beyond my understanding. I press on, my sneakers crunching on gravel that wasn't there a moment ago. The garden's transformation is accelerating, and familiar landmarks are vanishing before my eyes. My breath comes in short gasps, and panic threatens to overwhelm me. I force it down, drawing on the techniques I've learned to manage my anxiety. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, and focus on the task at hand. A faint sound reaches my ears, cutting through the eerie silence. It's laughter, a child's laughter. "Lily?" I call out, hope surging through me. But as the sound grows clearer, my blood runs cold. It's Lily's voice, unmistakably so. But there's something wrong. The laughter is hollow, almost mocking, with an otherworldly quality that sends shivers down my spine. I follow the sound, my instincts screaming at me to turn back. But I can't abandon Lily, not when she needs me most. The laughter leads me to a fork in the path. To my left, a trail bathed in an eerie, pale light that seems to pulse with its own rhythm. To my right, a path that plunges into shadow so deep it seems to swallow all light. I freeze, my heart racing like a wild drum. Which way? The laughter echoes again, seeming to come from both directions at once. I clench my fists, forcing down the wave of fear threatening to paralyze me. I must choose. Taking a deep breath, I step towards the shadowy path. It is better to face the darkness head-on than be lured by that unsettling light. As I move forward, the shadows seem to thicken, wrapping around me like a living thing. Suddenly, a figure looms out of the darkness. I stifle a scream and stumble backward. My hand finds a fallen branch, and I raise it defensively, ready to strike.
"Easy there, Miss Sinclair. You'll do yourself an injury swinging that thing around."
I blink, my eyes adjusting to the gloom. The figure resolves into Mr. Thorne, the hotel's gardener. He's holding a shovel, his clothes caked with dirt. But it's his eyes that catch my attention, glassy and distant as if he's looking at something far beyond me. "Mr. Thorne," I gasp, lowering the branch but not releasing it. "What are you doing here? Have you seen Lily?" He tilts his head, a strange smile playing at the corners of his mouth.
"Ah, the little one. She's gone where all curious children go in this garden, into the heart of it, where the old magic still lives."
I frown, trying to make sense of his cryptic words. What do you mean? Please, if you know where she is.
The garden has its own ways, Miss Sinclair. Its own hunger. It's been a long time since it tasted the innocence of a child.
A chill runs through me at his words. There's something off about Mr. Thorne. Something I've never noticed before. He speaks of the garden as if it's alive, as if it has desires of its own. You know something about Lily, about this place. Tell me. Mr. Thorne leans on his shovel, his eyes boring into mine.
There are old stories about this garden, Miss Sinclair. Stories of children who wander in and never wander out. Of paths that lead to places beyond our world. The fairy folk are always hungry for new playthings, you see.
I want to dismiss his words as the ramblings of an old man, but after what I've seen, the shifting paths, the unnatural shadows, I can't afford to ignore them. How do I find her?
You're sure you want to? The path you're on, girl, it's not one many return from.
I straighten my shoulders, meeting his gaze. I have to try. I'm responsible for her. He nods slowly as if I've passed some test.
Then I'll help you for what it's worth. But be warned, the deeper we go, the more dangerous it becomes.
As if in response to his words, the mist around us thickens, the temperature plummeting. The vibrant colors of the flowers fade to dull, lifeless hues. Mr. Thorne leads me off the path deeper into the undergrowth. The trees seem to close in around us, their branches reaching out like grasping hands. Mr. Thorne, I say, pushing aside a curtain of ivy. Where exactly are we going? He doesn't answer. He mutters something about the old ways and hidden gates. I'm about to press him further when the attack comes. The mist solidifies into shadowy figures that lunge at us from all sides. I catch a glimpse of glowing eyes and smoky, shifting bodies before instinct takes over. I swing the branch I'm still clutching, connecting with something that feels solid and insubstantial. Back! I yell, and my voice shrill with fear and adrenaline. Stay back! The shadows press in, their claws slashing through the air. I duck and weave, the branch becoming an extension of my arm as I fight for my life. Through it all, I'm acutely aware of Mr. Thorne standing off to the side, watching the battle with an almost detached interest. I don't have time to question his behavior. A shadow lunges for my throat, and I barely deflect it. The branch connects, and the creature dissipates with an unearthly shriek. Encouraged, I press my advantage, swinging with renewed vigor. Finally, the shadows retreat after what feels like hours, but could only have been minutes. I stand there, panting, the branch still raised defensively. Slowly, I turn to Mr. Thorne, expecting to see relief or at least concern on his face. Instead, he looks almost bored, like watching a mildly exciting television show.
The garden's guardians. They don't take kindly to intruders.
You knew. I accuse anger of cutting through my fear. You knew this would happen. He shrugs, unmoved by my outburst.
It's their nature, as it's my nature to guide those who need guidance.
I stare at him, a horrifying suspicion forming in my mind. Who are you? What do you know about this place? Mr. Thorne doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he turns and continues down the overgrown path. I follow, my grip on the branch never loosening. We push through dense foliage, emerging into a small clearing. My heart leaps into my throat. There, lying in the tall grass near a circle of mushrooms, is a small, familiar shoe. Lily. I breathe, rushing forward. I pick up the shoe, cradling it like it's the most precious thing in the world. As I stand, I feel a strange energy pulsing from the mushroom circle, the fairy ring, I realize with a start. It's as if the mushrooms themselves are alive, vibrating with an otherworldly power.
She's crossed over into their realm.
I turn to him, ready to demand answers, but the words die in my throat. There's a change in Mr. Thorne's demeanor, a gravity that wasn't there before. He begins to speak, his voice low and filled with ancient knowledge.
I've known about this place for years, Miss Sinclair. The fairy ring is the connection to their world. It's my duty to guard it, to keep them from crossing over and wreaking havoc in our world. I'm more than just a gardener. I'm the guardian of the gate.
I stared at him, my mind reeling. All this time I thought he was just a quirky old man, and now? Why didn't you stop her? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. Why didn't you warn us?
It's not that simple. The fairies have their own rules, their own rights. I can guard the gate, but can't stop every curious child from stumbling through.
I look down at Lily's shoe, and then at the fairy ring. The choice before me is clear, but terrifying. I have to go after her, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Mr. Thorne approaches me, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper.
It's risky in the fairy realm, Miss Sinclair. Mortals often lose their way. The fairies will trap you with riddles and play tricks on your mind. Trust nothing. Not what you see, not what you hear, not even what you feel. The realm will use your fears against you.
I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. Despite my fear and every instinct screaming at me to run, I know what I must do. Lily needs me, and I won't abandon her to the whims of some otherworldly creatures. I understand the risks, I tell Mr. Thorne, clutching Lily's shoe like a talisman. But I have to try. I'm responsible for her. I step into the fairy ring with one last look at the world I know. The air around me shimmers, filled with the scent of wildflowers and something older, something magical. Colors become more vivid, almost painfully bright. The ground beneath my feet ripples like water, and the sounds of the garden distort into something alien and beautiful. I feel a tugging sensation as if something is pulling me deeper into this new reality. I glance back at Mr. Thorne, still standing outside the ring, his expression unreadable. Then I turn and face the fairy realm, my heart pounding with fear and determination. The garden I knew was gone, replaced by an enchanting and terrifying landscape. Trees tower above me, their branches twisting into impossible shapes. The sky is a deep, swirling indigo, dotted with stars that seem to dance and shift. Strange creatures flit through the air, their laughter echoing in the distance. I clutch Lily's shoe tighter, using it to anchor my purpose. Whatever trials lie ahead, whatever dangers this realm holds, I'll face them. I must find Lily and bring her home no matter the cost. With that thought in mind, I take my first steps into the unknown, leaving the human world behind. A monstrous figure emerges from the shadows when I enter the fairy world. It's a nightmarish fusion of vines, thorns, and pulsating dark energy. Glowing eyes, filled with malevolent intelligence, fix on me. The creature snarls, lunging forward. Its thorny appendages whip through the air with deadly precision. I dodge on instinct, feeling the rush of air as the attack misses me by inches. Adrenaline surges through me as I face this grotesque gate guardian. Brute strength won't be enough here. I need to think and be clever. As I evaded another strike, I noticed something. While vicious, the creature's movements were predictable. It's as if it was bound by rules I couldn't see. Mr. Thorne's warning about riddles and tests echoes in my mind. This isn't just a battle. It's a puzzle to be solved. I formulate a plan, my mind racing. The next time the creature charges, I stand my ground until the last possible second. I sidestep in a hurry, my heart skipping a beat. The guardian, unable to change course, crashes into a large stone at the edge of the fairy ring. Its own momentum works against it. The creature becomes entangled in its mass of thorns, thrashing uselessly. I don't waste a moment. I sprint past the incapacitated guardian, pushing deeper into the fairy realm. The world around me shifts, becoming an eerie, twisted version of the Evergreen Hotel's garden. Familiar paths stretch before me, but everything is disturbingly wrong. Trees bend at impossible angles, their branches forming grotesque arches overhead. Flowers pulse with sickly, unnatural light. The air is thick and cloying. The sweet scent of fairy blooms mingles with the stench of decay. My head swims, reality blurring at the edges. I struggle to keep my focus as the realm's influence intensifies. As I navigate this nightmare landscape, whispers begin to fill the air. At first, they're so faint I can barely make them out, but they grow louder and more insistent. To my horror, I realize they're speaking of my deepest fears.
You will fail her just like how you have failed before. You're not strong enough, not smart enough. She's better without you. They all are.
The whispers build a cacophony of self-doubt. Each step forward feels like wading through molasses. The garden wraps around me, shifting with dizzying speed. I clenched my fists, willing myself to keep moving. I stumble into a clearing, my vision swimming. A mirror stands before me, its surface rippling like water. As I approach, my reflection steps out to confront me. But it's not me. Not really. This version of Emma is twisted and distorted by fear and despair. Her eyes are hollow, her face gaunt, and she radiates hopelessness.
Look at you.
Mirror Emma spits.
Pathetic. Do you really think you can save her? You couldn't even keep her safe in a garden.
I cringe. The words cut deep. Mirror Emma presses on, her voice dripping with contempt.
You're going to fail, just like you always do, and Lily will pay the price for your incompetence.
My throat tightens. Part of me wants to run, to escape these cruel words, but I force myself to stand my ground. This is a test, I realize, the first of many. I take a shaky breath, meeting my distorted reflection's gaze. I'm afraid, I admit. I'm afraid I'm not good enough, not strong enough. But my love for Lily is stronger than any fear. I step forward, my voice growing stronger. I refuse to be defined by my doubts. I will save her, no matter what it takes. As I speak, Mirror Emma begins to waver. Her form grows indistinct, dissolving into mist. I reach out, my hand connecting with the mirror's surface. With a decisive blow, I shatter the glass. The distorted reflection vanishes, leaving me alone in the clearing. I stand taller, a newfound sense of resolve filling me. I've passed the first test, but I know more will come. I continued deeper into the fairy realm, clutching Lily's shoe tightly. The path ahead was unclear, but a strange calm settled over me for the moment. The garden's wild distortions seemed to recede slightly as if acknowledging my small victory. But I'm not fooled. This moment of peace is temporary, a brief respite before the next challenge. The actual trials of the fairy realm still lie ahead. I steel myself, ready to face whatever comes next. Lily is counting on me, and this time, I won't let her down. As I move forward, the fairy realm shifts once more. The path before me splits into three, each leading in a different direction. One path is bathed in golden light, warm and inviting. Another is shrouded in shadow, with ominous whispers echoing from its depths. The third seems to flicker in and out of existence, there one moment and gone the next. I hesitate, knowing that this choice could be crucial. Mr. Thorne's warning about trusting nothing rings in my ears. The golden path seems too good to be true, while the shadowy one practically screams, trap. The flickering path unsettles me, but perhaps that uncertainty is precisely what I need. Taking a deep breath, I step onto the flickering path. The world around me shimmers, reality bending like a mirage in the desert. Each step feels uncertain, as if I'm walking on air. Suddenly, the ground beneath my feet vanishes. I'm falling, tumbling through a kaleidoscope of colors and fractured images. Fragments of memories flash before my eyes. Lily laughing in the garden, Mr. Thorne's cryptic warnings, the shadowy guardians attacking. I landed hard, the breath knocking from my lungs. As I struggled to my feet, I found myself in a vast chamber. The walls are lined with countless doors, each one unique. Some are ornate, others simple. Some seem to be made of light, others of shadow. A melodious voice fills the air, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere at once.
Choose wisely, seeker. Behind one door lies the path to your heart's desire. Behind the others, only peril and despair.
I scan the room, my mind racing. This is another test, but how do I solve it? There are too many doors to try them all, and I doubt I'd get a second chance if I choose wrong. As I ponder my next move, I notice something. Carved into the floor at my feet is a familiar symbol, the same one I saw etched into the stones of the Evergreen Hotel's garden, the one that caught Lily's attention just before she vanished. I traced the symbol with my finger, feeling a faint energy pulse. A memory surfaces. Lily, pointing excitedly at the carved stone, her eyes alight with curiosity. On a hunch, I scan the doors, looking for that same symbol. I spot it, almost hidden in the intricate woodwork of one door. My heart racing, I approach the door and place my hand on the knob. The voice speaks again, a note of surprise in its tone.
Clever mortal, you've passed this test, but beware, greater challenges lie ahead.
As the voice fades, the door swings open. I step through, ready to face whatever comes next in my quest to save Lily. As I continue, the fairy realm presses in around me, its twisted landscape a reflection of my deepest fears. Trees loom overhead, their branches reaching out like gnarled fingers. Their whispers carry my name on a chill wind, mocking and insidious.
Emma, you have failed again.
I stumble, the ground beneath my feet shifting like a living thing. My heart pounds as reality warps, plunging me into a memory I've tried desperately to forget. Suddenly, I'm 12 again. My little sister Sarah's terrified scream pierces the air as she falls from the treehouse I was supposed to be watching. Time slows. I reach for her, fingers grasping empty air, the sickening thud as she hits the ground, the way her arm bent at that unnatural angle. No! I gasp, wrenching myself back to the present. But the fairy realm isn't done with me yet. It amplifies my guilt, twisting the knife deeper. You failed her then. You'll fail Lily now. The thought nearly paralyzes me, but a surge of urgency cuts through the despair. Lily. I must find Lily. In my mind's eye, I see flashes of Lily's memories warping and twisting. Once bright and innocent, her laugh takes on an eerie, hollow quality. With each passing moment, she forgets more of who she truly is. I'm coming, Lily, I grit out, forcing myself forward. Just hold on. The realm's psychological assault intensifies. Shadows dance at the edge of my vision, taking the shape of my deepest regrets. But I can't afford to lose focus now. Lily needs me. Just when I think I can't take any more, I spot a faint shimmer in the distance. Hope flares in my chest as I hurry towards it. A trail of glowing stones reveals itself, partially hidden beneath a twisted underbrush. They pulse with a soft, inviting light, so different from the hostility surrounding me. Could this be the path to Lily? I hesitate. This realm is full of tricks and traps, but the warmth emanating from the stones feels familiar, almost comforting. Making a split-second decision, I follow the trail. The stones lead me to a serene glade that seems jarringly out of place in this nightmarish world. Warm sunlight filters through a lush canopy, bathing everything in a golden glow. The air is fragrant with blooming flowers, and a gentle breeze carries the sound of laughter. My heart leaps into my throat. There, in the center of the clearing, is Lily. She twirls and dances with other children, her face alight with joy. For a moment, relief washes over me, but as I watch, unease creeps in. The children's movements are too perfect, too synchronized. Their laughter, though melodic, has an artificial quality, like a recording on a loop. I look closer at Lily, and my blood runs cold. The light in her eyes isn't the vibrant spark I know. It's dull, glassy, and empty. This isn't my Lily. As if sensing my realization, the children stop abruptly. They turn to face me as one, their expressions twisting into something sinister. Their features shift and distort, revealing their true nature. Changelings. The serene clearing transforms in an instant. Flowers wither and die. The golden sunlight fades to an eerie twilight. The changelings, no longer bothering with their disguise, hiss and snarl. Their bodies elongate into spindly, grotesque forms as they begin to circle me. My heart races. I'm trapped, outnumbered. But I refuse to give up. Is this the best you can do? I taunt, remembering Mr. Thorne's warning about their love of riddles. I thought fairies were clever. Or are you all just parlor tricks and cheap illusions? The changelings falter, caught off guard by my sudden bravado.
We are the masters of this realm.
One of them hisses.
You are nothing here.
Prove it, I challenge. If you're so powerful, surely you can answer a simple riddle. The changelings exchange glances, their predatory circling slowing.
Very well, mortal.
Another says.
Pose your challenge.
I rack my brain for the most convoluted riddle I can think of. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? The changelings pause, confusion flickering across their twisted faces. They begin to mutter amongst themselves, clearly struggling. I use their distraction to scan the clearing, searching for any sign of the real Lily. That's when I spot a small, trembling figure hidden behind a thorny bush.
A map!
One of the changelings suddenly shouts, triumphant.
The answer is a map.
But I'm already moving. I dart through their ranks, ignoring their angry shrieks as I race towards the bush. Lily! I call out, my voice rough with emotion. Lily, it's me. It's Emma. I reach the bush, my hands tearing at the thorns. They slice into my skin, but I barely feel it. All that matters is getting to Lily. And then she's there, small and shaking, her eyes wide with fear. She clings to me as I pull her into my arms.
Emma, I want to go home. Please, take me home.
I will, I promise fiercely. I've got you now. You're safe. But as I turn to leave, the air in the clearing grows thick with tension. A tall figure emerges from the shadows, radiating cold authority, the changeling leader. Its form is more solid than the others, with sharp angular features and eyes that burn with an otherworldly light. When it speaks, its voice is like ice scraping against stone.
Well done, mortal. You've proven yourself quite resourceful, but did you think it would be so easy?
I pulled Lily closer, shielding her with my body. What do you want? I demand. The changeling leader's eyes gleam.
A choice. You may leave this realm, or the child may, but not both.
What do you mean?
It's simple. If you choose to leave with the child, you will be trapped here forever, taking her place as guardian of the fairy ring. If you choose to leave alone, the child stays.
The weight of the decision crashes over me. I look down at Lily, her tear-filled eyes gazing up at me with trust and fear. The thought of abandoning her is unthinkable, but the idea of being trapped in this nightmare realm forever. Time seems to slow as I weigh my options. I think of my family and my dreams of becoming a child psychologist. All of that would be lost if I stayed. But then I remembered why I entered this realm in the first place, to protect Lily and bring her home safely. I made a promise. Taking a deep breath, I kneel to Lily's level. I brush a strand of hair from her face, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's going to be okay, Lily," I tell her. "You're going to go home now." I stand, facing the changeling leader. My voice doesn't waver as I say, "I'll stay. Let Lily go." The changeling leader's eyes flash with satisfaction. It snaps its fingers, and the other changelings step back, clearing a path. A shimmering portal appears, a glimpse of the human world beyond. Lily hesitates, looking up at me with confusion and fear. "Go on," I urge her gently. "Your parents are waiting for you." With one last tearful glance, Lily runs through the portal. As it closes behind her, I feel a piece of my heart goes with her. I turn back to the changeling leader, bracing myself for whatever comes next. But it's smirking, and its eyes have an unsettling gleam.
Oh, how noble, how wonderfully self-sacrificing, but I'm afraid there's one last twist to our little game.
Dread pools in my stomach. What do you mean?
By choosing to stay, you've bound yourself to the fairy realm's magic. But that bond works both ways, you see. You now have control over the realm's power.
I stare at it, uncomprehending. What are you talking about?
You're the new guardian of the fairy ring. All the power and responsibility that comes with it, it's yours now.
Before I can respond, the changeling leader bows mockingly and steps back, watching me from the shadows in the clearing. I stand frozen, trying to process what just happened. The fairy realm stretches out before me, both familiar and alien. I can feel its magic, wild and unpredictable, thrumming through me. What have I done? As the reality of my situation sinks in, I'm overwhelmed by a mix of emotions. Relief that Lily is safe, fear of the unknown future that stretches before me, and underneath it all, a spark of something I didn't expect. Determination. I may be trapped here, but I'm not powerless. Whatever challenges this realm throws at me, I'll face them head on. I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. The fairy realm might think it's won, but it has no idea who it's dealing with. Game on. I immerse myself in the ancient laws of the fairy realm, delving into its magic and with a strong intensity driven by desperation. I discovered that the role of the guardian isn't just about containment. It's about balance, maintaining harmony between light and dark forces. As the binding ritual begins, I carefully weave my own conditions into the spell. My additions go unnoticed by the changeling leader, who is too focused on securing my submission to see the trap I'm laying. Lily will be permanently safe in the human world, and I will have the power to suppress the darker forces that threaten both realms. The realm's magic swirls around me, a tempest of light and shadow. The ground cracks beneath my feet, revealing glowing symbols that pulse with otherworldly energy. I feel the magic seeping into my very being, reshaping me into something other. But as the transformation reaches its peak, I channel the hidden power I've secured. My humanity remains intact, a bridge between two worlds. When the storm of magic clears, I stand transformed. The changeling leader smiles, believing me fully under its control. It has no idea of the power I now wield. The weight of my new role settles upon me, heavy with responsibility. The realm's inhabitants regard me with a mixture of awe and fear. I'm their protector now, revered and set apart. My heart aches as I think of the life I've left behind. Lily is safe, but I can never return to the human world. The loss cuts deep, a wound that will take time to heal. I push the grief aside, focusing on the task at hand. There will be time to mourn later. For now, I have a realm to manage. Days blur together as I explore the full extent of my new powers. I learned to communicate with the realm's diverse inhabitants, from mischievous sprites to ancient, slumbering entities deep within the earth. My presence brings a new order to the realm. I use my authority to maintain the delicate balance between light and dark. But I remain vigilant, knowing the realm's magic is as unpredictable as it is powerful. It's during one of my patrols that I notice something odd. Symbols like those I saw in the human world begin appearing within the fairy realm. They're not mere markings. I can feel the power pulsing through them, linking the two worlds in ways I don't fully understand. A wave of unease washes over me as I realize the changeling's hold hasn't fully released. The battle to keep the realm's darker forces at bay is far from over. As I contemplate this unsettling development, a presence makes itself known. I turn to find myself face to face with an ancient being, its form shifting and insubstantial.
You've seen the signs. The prophecy unfolds.
What prophecy? I demand my guard up. The being's form solidifies slightly, revealing eyes as old as time.
The merging of realms. The collision of worlds. You, Guardian, stand at the precipice of a great change.
The realization lands like a sharp jab. I thought my greatest challenge was behind me, but it seems it's only just beginning. What can I do? I ask, as my mind is racing.
Study the symbols. Seek allies. The balance between worlds has never been more fragile. Your role is critical in preventing catastrophe.
With that cryptic advice, the being fades away, leaving me alone with my swirling thoughts. I studied the prophecy, seeking out anyone within the realm who might help me prevent the merging of worlds. To my surprise, many of the realm's inhabitants rallied behind me. They recognized the threat and saw me as their true guardian. My resolve hardens with each passing day. I will do whatever it takes to maintain the balance and keep the realms separate. Standing at the edge of the fairy realm, I look out over the shimmering boundary that separates this world from the human one. The realm's magic hums around me, a constant reminder of the power I now wield. You may have trapped me here, I whisper to the changeling leader, wherever it might be lurking. But this is my realm now. I know challenges lie ahead. The balance between worlds will always be precarious. But I'm no longer the frightened girl who stumbled into this realm. I'm its guardian, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. The fairy realm has a new protector, and I'll defend both worlds on my terms.